Yeah, and we know, well, a lot of people may not know, that Saddam Hussein had given access. He had an underground bunker. They refer to it as the Palace. In the desert in Iraq, had given it over to the aliens years ago to use as a base.
Well, that's very possible. And but this ship is huge. I mean, I think, most of the elite of the planet and their minions, and not all their minions, but certainly the human sellouts, I've heard a number of them are planning to be on this ship when it leaves. Now,
and you named, Bush and Rumsfeld and Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah. And
a couple of others, Cheney.
Right.
They all plan to be on the ship leaving in March. That's their exit strategy with Iraq. It's the only exit strategy they have is that they're all heading to Iraq, boarding this UFO, and getting off of Earth.
Yeah, but they have, and I didn't think that, I'd heard March over and over again, over and over, in different reversals. March. The ship has to leave in March. In March, it's leaving. And the net, which has held us all in, some event is going to shatter the net, but first these guys have got to get out. And what I've heard is that they are going to stock the lockers with meat, and it's human meat. And this is where, when I heard the Prophet Yahweh and they talked about picking up thousands of people for beef, I thought, well, maybe it is this March. Maybe they're really getting ready to start stocking this UFO. Because I never got a year. I only got March.
You can get months, but because things get delayed.
It cannot seem to get a year. So that's got me thinking that this event may be this coming March, where they're going to set off. And what I heard was, and I have reversals for everything I'm saying. None of this is just my, conjuring up.
Oh, you couldn't make this stuff up.
No, I couldn't possibly make this up. That they have the means to set off earthquakes and volcanoes. Now, I heard that there were going to be a lot of volcanoes, and when the air is dirty, that's when the ship is going to pull out. Because, first of all, there'll be a lot of chaos, and second of all, I'm assuming it has to be a physical ship that will be visible to the physical eye, and they want to go under the cover of ash and dirt, because when they say when the air is dirty, the ship will leave. And I think at that point they're heading out, and at that point that's when I got really concerned with this, again with the Prophet Yahweh situation, because I realized that they were starting to stock the meat lockers, and that they were going to fool people into a rapture, into whatever.
They're going to say it's a rapture.
Yeah,
there's millions of people missing in this rapture, but really they've been taken up in UFOs to be used as food. They're going to stock this huge ship over in Iraq in the desert somewhere, and they're going to stock it with humans for food. They're going to hang them up like beef, and they're going to grill their fannies, and all this stuff is what you're hearing in reverse speech.
That's what I'm hearing.
And it's stuff I've seen in the codes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, stuff I've been warning about forever, but this gives it a whole new dimension.
Well, it certainly speeds things up.
Yeah, because I've been seeing March dominant in the codes lately, the month of March, if not July. They have an open window in July. Maybe March being when their ship takes off, and that could be a totally separate event. But definitely something could happen this July. We could have some real fireworks in our capital.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah, and so we've got a couple of months here to watch out for, both July and August. The West Coast disasters in August, and then March.
Right. Again, I just listened to this one man. He just gave this whole story. It was just amazing, this researcher. And I downloaded an hour of his forward speech, and I worked on it for 20 hours. I mean, I have over 200 reversals, and he told this whole story.
Do you want to play some of these right now?
I can play some of them.
Okay.
Yeah. He talks about the ship going into the sun. I think the sun must be some kind of a portal, because he does some kind of half reading here now. So, all right, I'll just play. What I'll do is I'll go through some of these, and because they're not really chronological. My software just keeps putting in alphabetical order, and so the chronology, I'd rather have them in a chronological order, but that doesn't seem to work. So he says, first time out, we need the meat. That's not a real clear one. Again.
So they're not leaving until they've got humans. They've got
humans.
Meat.
Then they talked about Iraq and how they had to clear out Iraq so that they could. I'm reading, sorry. So they can get the ship out. But then they talk about Iran, and I think that they're going to go into Iran because for some reason they need that area too. And here the person says, and Iran must yield. When it's hot, some of the oil will boost it. I think this is part of their agenda. They want to create some kind of, besides earthquakes and volcanoes, I think they're really going to, I keep hearing that they're going to heat up the earth. So when he says when it's hot, some of the oil will boost it. And then he says, this is George Norrie speaking. He gets frustrated. He goes, the owl just never stops. You know, it just goes on and on. But
yeah, and I've mentioned, I believe the owl refers to Satan.
Oh, absolutely.
So people have different names for him. They call him Lucifer or whatever.
It's the owl across. I mean, always. I mean, that's all that comes up over and over again. But here, this man says, "This is the owl. We're going to the sun."
The owl will always go to the sun. The owl will always go to the sun.
And so and then they talk about there's a net, there'll be fire. I think they're going to set this, somehow they're going to set, this net is going to be set on fire. The net that has held us in, and here they're saying, there's a net, there'll be fire. We've got...
and that's what I've seen in the Bible codes. I have seen where our atmosphere is literally on fire.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what caused that. I'm thinking it was some kind of all of these chemtrails combusting and it just explodes. I've seen the term cage in the codes.
I'm not sure. But here this man says, service to chemistry, I rode this seismic out. Now that's a little bit of a metaphorical way of saying it, but I think what he's saying, service to chemistry, in other words, they're going to be able to start seismic activity. Reverse speech can be very poetic at times. Service to chemistry, I rode this cosmic out. And then this woman talks about a smashed America is their plan. So I think that's part of what's going on. That's what she says. Here it is. See, I get these from all over. This isn't just like from one person. They will talk about all this stuff. I mean, and people are talking about nice things forward, and they're all giving the same information. That's why it really is, when you hear 100 people saying all different things in